taken us a little while to get here, but so far we have done these two doors in the first video, which also required us to fill in a bit of a nasty dent. We then moved on to finishing up the driver's side of the car, so the front wing there, the side skirt, the rear quarter, which goes all the way down to the A-pillar and the roof. Then in the last video we started by getting the car symmetrical, so doing this passenger side and then tackling the front bonnet and the boot, which just leaves us with the rear bumper, a front bumper and the wing mirrors. That all sounds like it shouldn't have taken too much time, but I can tell you that over 3 videos and nearly 2 hours worth of video, there were many more hours of actually wrapping this thing. On average, I'm saying it's about 3 to 4 hours a panel. If you're a good wrapper who's done this before, you know what you're doing, you're probably thinking that's a long time, but you probably remember your first wrap, and actually for a first wrap it's probably about right. I like to think it is anyway. So now I feel like I'm on the final stretch, but the rear bumper and the front bumper are going to be 2 of the most difficult panels to do, particularly the front bumper, and for that reason the next one I'm going to do is the rear bumper. Let's save the hardest bit to last. So what's going to be tricky about this rear bumper, I think, is going to be this line. I can see that if I wrap over the top of that, the chances are that it's not going to stick all the way along. I'm sure there are people out there that could get it to stick. It would be a case of making sure that it is thoroughly cleaned, but I think there's also going to be a bit of technique with how you wrap it and not stretching it too hard over that line, so it's just going to pop out again. And for that reason, my plan is to do the rear bumper in 3 pieces. So I'm going to do a piece on this bit here, so it's just underneath the boot. Then I'm going to do the lower piece up to that line, and then the middle piece from the line to the inlay at the top there. But before we can do any of that, we need to prep the bumper, and the first step of that is going to be to sort out this damage, which has been on the car ever since we bought it nearly 8 years ago now. Now, the shape of this, I don't know if this towed something before, and maybe when reversing they cornered too sharply and whatever they were towing has hit the bumper. It might be that, it might just be they've crashed into a wall. Anyway, that's not going to look very pretty underneath the wrap. So my plan is to get some sandpaper on it. Hopefully that's all it needs. Maybe it needs a bit of filler. We'll see as we go. So let's get the car reversed into the garage and make a start. Let's take some sandpaper to this bumper, and there's no going back now. Obviously we've got all that filler on the driver side doors, so if we were to unwrap this thing it would look a state anyway, but at the moment this panel has been acceptable for 8 years, and in a minute it's not going to be acceptable, but it's got to be done. The plan is just to sand all of these kind of cracks where the paint's come off, and just hope that it is just the paint that is cracked and not the bumper itself. I think that is right. This bit's a bit of a crease there actually, I think, probably, but no worse than the dent repair currently looks. Let's just get into it. Having given it a bit of a sand, you can see in there that line where the sandpaper hasn't been able to get to, it is clearly dented, so a bit of filler is required on that. Where the paint had flaked off, we've got some lines that you can still feel, so I could just sand these a bit more, but as I'm going to get the filler out, I think I'll just do with these lightly with a bit of filler, try and shortcut that. And then one other bit to do is this, which again just looks like the car's been driven into something. The paint's kind of cracked and got a bit weird really. For some reason it looks like I've been plunged into darkness. Well, I have been plunged into darkness. Presumably it's a power cut. Let's go and see. I was plunged into darkness.
Yeah, we all were.
Oh good. Another power cut then.
Yeah.
Great. Sorted that, just a problem with the water heater. That's another problem I have to deal with at some point probably, but anyway, let's get back in the garage.
I've turned into myself, I've become who I
Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Feels nice and smooth. So let's get the rear bumper prepped, get all this dust cleaned off, any dirt cleaned off, particularly in the wheel arch there, under the bumper there, in this groove here. Probably want to take that tail eye cap out actually, take the rear lights out, and then we should be good to put some wrap on it. And I think I'm going to start probably inlaying this bit. What is holding that on? I want that off, man. Just been trying to get this trim piece off that runs along the top of the bumper there, because really I want to get my wrap to sit right underneath that. I could try and butt it up against it, but I just think over time, as the bumper flexes, it's going to push the wrap away and you'll start to see the grey. When the boot's down, you wouldn't see it anyway, so you could potentially get away with that. I don't know. I'm never against cutting corners if it saves a significant amount of time, but I just think in this instance, this probably isn't one of them. I think the trim hooks behind the bumper, so I think the bumper needs to come out before you can get the trim out. If that's the case, then I know we tried to take the bumper off, or at least pull the sides out when we did the rear quarters and gave up, but I think I need to try again and at least pull one side out enough that I can pull this trim piece off. It's the right thing to do, let's do it. So unlike last time we tried to remove the bumper, this time we're not going to be defeated. Actually last time we didn't even try and remove the bumper, we just tried to lift this panel out so we could get underneath the rear quarter there, but there is sufficient gap along here that we didn't need to do that in the end, and that would also be the case for the rear bumper getting into the gap on top of the bumper, but unfortunately we do need to remove the bumper in order to get this black trim off, which I really want to do so I can get the wrap right underneath that. I understand on the rear bumper there should be 3 8mm down there. Can't really see them because it's caked in mud. Once you pull that back, there should be a bolt up in there, which we did actually take off and we tried to do it in the last video. And then there are a load of 8mm all along the bottom. I believe it is 11 of them. 3 here on each side, and then along there. Let's get to undoing them. That's all the screws on the passenger side wheel well out, and all along the bottom of the bumper. And earlier we removed the T25 from there and there, so I haven't done the screws on the driver's side because I'm hoping I can just pull the bumper away on one side enough to release this trim. Let's see. Gonna have to show you this. The clips on the bumper are breaking. Yeah, that one's gone, that one's gone, that one hasn't gone, and that one hasn't gone. You can see where this one's come off. There's that hook that sort of stays on the car with that sort of plastic bracket that bolts on there. The last one I've got to get off is in there, arrow on screen. If I can push down that black clip, hopefully I can save that hole in the bumper. Made a bit of a meal of that. To be honest, I don't suppose it matters too much if some of those break. There's enough little screws on the bumper to keep it secure regardless. Anyway, let's see if we can carry on pulling it out. After all of that, it seems like the trim that I want out is part of this bumper support. When I wiggle that, you see there the whole thing moves. So we're not getting that out, but we've achieved what I wanted to achieve anyway, which was access to this bit of the bumper, which I want to wrap. So all of that slides underneath that black bit of trim, because as I said earlier, I'm worried that if I wrap up to where the dirt starts there, any movement in the bumper, which as you're going along, probably the bumper is just going to move ever so slightly, it's going to start to push that wrap back and look rubbish. We have made progress. Next we need to clean this bit up. And now it's clay barring time. the bumper hanging off the car there is prepped and we are ready to lay our first bit of wrap. First bit we're going to do is the inlay on the top of the bumper along here. I've been deliberating about where exactly to put the seam because this bit is going on first. The next bit, which will be the middle section, is going to go over the top. So we want the seam to be just round the corner here, so it's facing that way, which hopefully means as you're standing over it you just might not see it. I did wonder if we did the other way, so we left this inlay until last, in which case the inlay would overlap the middle piece and I could do it so the seam's pointing down, which would mean there was less chance of the seam being visible. But for some reason, I can't quite explain why, I feel that's not the right way to do it and the inlay should go in first. Perhaps I'm thinking that the inlay would be more prone to peeling off if we did it over the top. I don't know, tell me if I'm wrong, but we're going to do the inlay first. Let's go. First we need to put down the knifeless tape where the seam is going to go. That, guys and girls, is my first bit of wrap on the rear bumper. Okay, so there are lots of bumps on this bit of the bumper, which was purely imperfections in the paintwork. Don't know quite why it's gone like that. You're not going to see that. Let's get the bumper clipped back in and see what it looks like then. Hopefully we can see that should look pretty good, and all those bumps are hidden. Just about see one there, but that's because the bumper isn't pushed in fully on this side. So hopefully you can see there, you can see the hole doesn't quite line up yet, so that will be hidden. And subject to how the rest of it goes, that bit should look okay. On to the next bit then. Two sections to do, bottom below the line and the middle bit above the line. I think I'm going to do the bottom bit first. Seam's going to be lost in that groove anyway, so I don't think it really matters whether I do top or bottom, but I think if it did matter then you'd want the top to overlay the bottom bit because you're looking down, so you're not going to see the seam. So for that reason alone, I'm going to do the bottom next. A couple of days have passed since the last clip, and as I do, I've been thinking about why this car still isn't wrapped and what I've got left to do and how I am going to go about doing it. Now, I've already said that I'm going to wrap this bumper in 2 more sections, so 3 in total, the inlay that we've just done, and then I was going to do the bottom section next and then the middle section. But I've been thinking that I probably should give this a go in one piece. The reason I was going to do it in 2 sections was because of this groove, and I didn't want the wrap popping out because it hadn't stuck properly. But thinking about it, the risk of doing it in 2 sections is that it's going to be more prone to start peeling away and failing, and that's probably the bigger issue. And really, if I put enough heat on it, there's no reason why the wrap should pop out of that groove. So I'm just going to try and demonstrate that with a test piece now. So the wrap will go on over the groove like that. Looking good. Okay, and then you can see the groove, so we're going to need to push that in by applying a load of heat. This is proving challenging, as I thought it might be. There are going to be air bubbles in here, so we're going to have to poke a load of holes. Maybe I was right the first time. Let's give it the right poke. There's a hole in that bit now. Well, that's an interesting test. You can see that I'm struggling to get the wrap right into the groove on this bit, and there's a hole in there already. Yeah, that doesn't look any good, so I think we probably do stick with plan A. Let's get on with that. I'm ready to give this a go. My plan of action, because there's always a plan, whether we manage to execute it or not is another matter, but I'm starting on this side where the bumper is still very much bolted to the car, so there's a bit more of a fixing point on that side. I want to get the wrap started on that side so I can then pull it round the bumper, trying to get that stretch so the wrinkle lines go across the bumper and not up and down, and just pull it all the way around. That was the plan when I did this bit of the boot, which didn't quite work as I intended because I still got the fingers running down, but we keep trying and we keep learning, and eventually we might just get it right.
Let's go to the fun fair. We'll have lots of fun there. Happiness everywhere. You can feel it in the air. I wanna feel like I belong. I wanna right all the wrongs. Make everything alright again. I just wanna get along. I don't care who's right or wrong. I don't wanna cause you no more pain. Let's go to the fun fair. Let's get in line. At the shooting range, it's a prize every time. I wanna sing happy songs. I wanna dance all night long, like I've never done before. I wanna believe in something
That's the bottom layer done then, looking pretty good.
about nothing. I don't wanna question things anymore.
Onwards with the middle layer.
I wanna feel like I belong. I want
Just slowing things down here so you can see how I heat up the wrap here to give it a good stretch. But even though I did this, you'll see in a minute that things didn't quite work out as I hoped.
I just wanna get along. I don't care who's right or wrong. I don't wanna cause you no more pain. At the Hotel of Terror, you'll get a scare. It's not all fun and games at the fun fair.
This is the moment that it all went very wrong for me, and I realised that having pretty much done all the bumper, this bit here, I just could not get the fingers out. So my plan in this moment was to peel it back again and dealing with those fingers before I go round the corner of the rear bumper to the side of the car. Bad news on this bit, I've been going at it for a couple of hours. I'm pretty good on this side. Haven't done any cutting yet, just as well really, because I've got to this side and I was really struggling up here and there was just too much wrap here, and I'd got to about there, and as I was going to get up to the top there it was just going to bunch up and there was too much. So I thought I need to pull it off again and just give it even more stretch than I already had done, to stretch the wrap around the corner there, leaving the right amount of wrap on the top there, because I had too much, as I say. But as I pulled it back, there is now a mark in the wrap. And although I've tolerated quite a few marks as I've gone around the car, that is just too much. So I'm going to have to rip this piece off and start afresh. Not the end of the world, it's a learning process. Hopefully it'll go better next time. So that failed because we didn't stretch the wrap enough round this corner here, so that when we came to doing the upper part, which is a tighter corner to get round as opposed to the wider edge here of the bumper, it all crumpled up. We go again and we need to do a really big stretch around here this time. It's a different day and the weather has turned a bit milder, and that should help the wrap be a little bit more flexible. So let's go again and hope for the best. I won't show you the whole thing this time because you've already seen me try it and fail it, so I'll just show you the stretches around those corners. Corner one then, let's get this stretched around a good one. It goes, hold it at the top and bottom, and I need to go a bit closer. Oh, this is really hard, man. Right, I'll see what I can do with that and then I'll check back in with you. And there it is. I apparently have not learnt from the last time of trying, so if you want to imagine how that just went, just rewind this video and watch me the first time. I still didn't have quite enough stretch at the top there. I think it's just one of those things you just need to keep practicing to get better at. Anyway, it is a couple of hours later since the last clip, and we're on and around up to there. Another annoying thing, as I've come round this side, it was apparent that the wrap was dropping down, so it wasn't going to cover this bit of the bumper here. So as I've come around here, I've had to pull it up and up and up. It worked okay, I just pulled on it as I pushed it down, but the result of that is, if you can see, there are these marks all along the bumper. But given how hard that has been, and this is my second attempt, that is something I'm just going to live with. Okay, so I'm now at the point of coming around the corner again. I will show you me trying to stretch it around, and I'll check in with you in a bit. Success, we've got the wrap all around the bumper now, every angle, a step forward from the last attempt. What a battle that was though. I was having to pull up the wrap the whole way round. The cut was probably okay, but the angle wasn't from where I started. And you see here, I haven't cut this at all since applying it, but that edge is right on the corner there. Really I'd want it a bit more around the corner, but given the battle that I've undergone, I'm relieved that it's made it that far. The only thing I'm going to have to watch for is the wrap pulling itself back. So as I post heat that, hopefully it stays where it is. Let's get this cut out, put the bumper back on and see what it looks like. Some tricky cutting going on here. I just wanted to show you where the groove is along the bumper. So with the bottom section that we'd already done, I'd cut the seam about halfway into that groove. So now I've come to cut the top bit, which we've literally just done, and I was slightly nervous that I'd cut it too short, but I think I've probably gone the other way because that seam is quite obvious, and if I just cut it a bit more it'll be more hidden. So I'm gonna have another go at that bit. And that is looking loads better. It's a bit messy as it goes into the wheel arch there, but on the whole, not too bad. Okay, let's cut around that groove, around the rest of the bumper then. An unfortunate thing happened there. So as I was going along here doing section by section, I had a cut along there, and like I had in my last video with the boot, the cut extended and it put a little tear in the wrap there. It's not too noticeable. It's certainly not something that I'm going to rip off the wrap and start again for. It's very unfortunate. My concern is that the tear now expands where I stretched the wrap around the corner. If that's under tension, potentially it separates. Bummer, probably is what it is. And there is also a tear here, which same sort of thing, but I didn't see that one happen. It was only when I came around to that side to cut it I noticed that where there was a slit in the wrap to relieve the stretch, it had extended into the bumper. Another thing to try and learn from for the future, but I'm sure it won't be the last time that I do that. Okay, looking good. The rear bumper is more or less done. I've got the parking sensors to cut out and the toe cap to do as well, and bolt the bumper back together, and that bit I'm going to do next.
Can I do that for?
One at a time. Slot it into there, into the gap.
Mama me. Why did you take it out?
Well, I suggest you watch the video and then you'll see.
Daddy?
Yeah.
All of the car done?
No, I haven't done the front of I.
Have you?
No.
Oh, no, you haven't.
Stick your head in there.
Stick my head in here.
Right, can you see that bit of thread?
Yeah.
You need to get this nut on it. See where my finger is?
Wow, this is
Right, you
cool.
just tighten that one up. Right, Maya, you can get started on this one now.
Yeah.
Carefully, not to scratch my fresh wrap. Put it in like that. Excellent. It's always good to have help from the kids. That's the bumper and the lights bolted back in. These clips were stupid because they slot in that way, and then there's a clip that goes down there into a hole. But the clip down there has got a kind of L shape, so it goes in and then that way. But for the life of me, I could not get that L shape to clip in properly, so I've just snapped the L shape off. So they are a bit loose, particularly that one, but as the bonnet shuts, it's on top of it, and there's your first peek at the completed rear end. Oh, just noticed the toe cap, and I haven't just noticed because I'm very aware I've got to cut out the parking sensors, which I'm not very much looking forward to. Let's not put that off any longer and take a blade to my freshly wrapped bumper. Here it is. I don't want to do this. I'm going to mess it up. Parking sensors done, toe eye cap next. So I thought I would get the car well out in the open to check out that fine rear end. And how the car is coming along all together. I mean, from this angle, it's done, isn't it? If only you could only ever look at it from that angle. But unfortunately, yes, we know we've gone over it many times, wing mirrors and the front bumper to do. How on earth am I going to do that front bumper, bearing in mind how hard I just found that rear bumper? I don't know, but you're just going to have to stick with me and find out in the next video on that one. Anyway, we're getting there. We're nearly at the point we can do a video on the E90 that's something other than wrapping, because I'm sure we're all a bit fed up with it by now, and then we can get on to other things. If you remember that I promised I was going to make this car cool. I want to make this car cool. And you might have seen some boxes in the garage just now. These ones. And once we're finally finished the wrapping, we'll open those and see what we've got inside and get that fitted. But for today and this video, that is all. We have achieved rear bumper. It was hard work, but another good learning curve in my wrapping career. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.
You're on TV.